I'm Dr. Clayton Greenway with healthcareforpets.com, and we're answering questions this morning that came into the website. Here's a good one. It comes from Paul. What are the is that you, Paul?
Yeah.
Okay, that's my partner. What are the signs and symptoms that my dog needs its anal glands expressed, and can my dog develop an infection if they aren't expressed? You know, don't we get enough questions? Okay, Paul wants to know about anal glands. Anal glands are wonderful things. They are two sacs that sit beside the anus, and they fill with this really stinky stuff that basically, when a poop comes out, a nice firm poop puts pressure on these glands and it causes them to express. And this stuff gets on the poop, and it really is for marking. And so what happens is when they have anal gland problems, you can have leaking of the anal glands and things like that, and it really smells in the house. In fact, if the anal glands don't express, they can become firm. The material inside gets inspissated, it dries out, the anal glands become irritated and inflamed, and the dog can be quite painful. The thing we usually see with dogs is they put their bum on the ground and they rub it along. Some of them will lick back there, and sometimes anal glands that are impacted like this and won't express, they will become infected and an abscess will form and a drainage hole will open up beside the anal gland outside of the regular tube that this stuff is supposed to come out. So it can be very painful. Basically, what can happen is, to treat this, you go to your veterinarian. Some groomers do it. Some groomers express anal glands well, some of them not as well. But veterinarians and their staff sometimes can not express them as well either. But usually what you do is put a glove on, and you have to put your finger in there and express the anal gland. Some groomers will do it from the outside, so they may not fully express it. And by doing it this way, you can tell if an anal gland is fully empty. So you express them, and basically what happens is you release the material. If the anal gland is inflamed, sometimes it produces more material rather rapidly. So I always tell people, you might see the symptoms come back in about 2 or 3 days. In that case, come back in for another expression. I always say that because some people will see it come back in about 2 or 3 days and they'll think, we must not have emptied them fully. But in fact, if they're inflamed, they can sometimes fill up rather rapidly. And usually after that second expression, then they're fine. And anal glands are interesting. I mean, if you have soft stools, you will have anal gland problems. But the other thing is there's lots of other things that are suspected as contributing to anal gland problems, like allergies or vaccination or other diseases. But we don't really know any rhyme or reason. I had a cat that I had for a number of years. It was an older cat, and basically it had an anal gland problem once, but never again. Some dogs I see, I've had to express their anal glands once a month for 6 months, and then never again after that. So sometimes we don't really understand the rhyme or reason. If you're starting to have problems beyond that and the expressions don't work, there are actual surgeries you can do. There's an anal sacculectomy where you can have your veterinarian perform a surgery to remove those anal glands. In 13 years, I have never had to do that, and I'll tell you why. The thing that I do is I will actually sedate the dog. I will find a little catheter and I'll insert it into the tube of each anal gland, and I'll flush them out really thoroughly, and I'll pack the anal gland full of a medicine that's an antibiotic, anti-yeast, anti-inflammatory. It's actually a very common ear medication and skin medication, but I actually put it in the anal gland. It's not really used for that, but it's something that I've done, and it's never caused a problem. It's really settled the anal glands down, and it's avoided the surgery for me every single time. In some cases, you might have to get to that surgery. So this is the way you deal with it, Paul. And hopefully there's no ongoing problems. And if there are, you can come and ask me again. But I appreciate the question coming in. And for everyone out there, keep those questions coming to healthcareforpets.com, where we're dedicated to your pet's health.